Oh, hello, 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 hello. This is another episode of the From Her View podcast with me, Sade Camille. And I'm extremely excited, as I always am. Like, that's like my favorite phrase. Like, I should probably get that, I don't know, copywritten. Is it copywritten? But anyway, extremely excited. As I'm continuing the series of the Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself Chile, we are coming to a close. And we are going to be talking about the Clifton Strong assessment. So, this was the latest assessment that I took, the very last one um, that I partook in. And I'm really excited for this one because this focuses on your strengths. I've said in another podcast, we are all very much aware of, or we're not aware of what our superpower is. So it's something that we do innately. We don't think twice about it. It's just who we are. It's just who we are. And it is a great thing. So, with that being said, we're going to go into the Clifton Strong. So, there, the this one has the review of knowledge and skills that you have acquired can provide a basic sense of your abilities, but an awareness and understanding of your natural talents will provide true insight into the core reason behind your consistent success. Your signature theme report presents your five most dominant themes of talent in the rank order, revealing your response to the Strength Finder. So, I have them here. And my first one is strategic. So, strategic theme enables you to sort through clutter and find the best route. It is not a skill that can be taught, it is a distinct way of thinking. A special perspective on the world at large, this perspective allows you to see patterns where others simply see complexity. It's 1,000% sure. Like, or certain. True. Um, it's 1,000% true. Like, I will see patterns and everything like that. It's just how my brain is wired. Clearly, it's telling you this is how my brain is wired. So, I'm extremely analytical. So I do see patterns when things change or alter, even a little bit. I take mental note of it. I'm not really reactive with it, but I do take mental note. So I do take mental note of these things and move accordingly. Mindful of these patterns, you play out alternative scenarios, always asking, well, what if this happened? Okay, well, what if this happened? This reoccurring questions helps you see around the next corner. There you can evaluate the accurate there you can evaluate accurately the potential obstacles. Guided by where you see each path leading, you start to make new selections. You discard the path that leads nowhere. You discard the path that lead straight into resistance. You discard the paths that lead into the fog of confusion. You cull and make selections until you arrive to a chosen path, your strategy. Armed with your strategy, you strike forward. This is your strategic theme at work. What if, select, and strike. It's so true. I literally will come to a conclusion and be like, okay, yeah, no. Okay, yeah, no. Like even in my day-to-day life, I am going through trying to obtain my CDL. And it has not been an uphill journey. It has been up, down, and around. It's been pretty difficult. Honestly, this I have the capacity to learn a lot of things, do a lot of things. And this by far has been the hardest thing I've tried to do in my life. Okay. the hardest. And definitely I'm gonna have to like do a video about it, do like a little recap, a little vloggy vlog, like really like tap in, give the unadulterated tea about it because it's just like seriously. But I was coming to that point, so I was coming to, the recollection that, okay, basically conferring with Holy Spirit, conferring with my in-house prophet, which is my son, who's very prophetic, and I ask him questions. He never asks me no questions, but I ask him questions, and if our spirits agree, it's usually yeah, yeah. So he's good. He's good. He's getting there, and I was just like, yeah, do you think I'm gonna get this license? And he's like, yeah. Because, everybody's like, girl, you do, whatever you say you're gonna do, you do it. And you do it every time. And I'm like, that's true. That's true. And so I was like, okay. Because I was like, something is, it's just like, what is, you know? And so I was like, um, but am I gonna get it with this school though? And he's like, no. So flat out no. And he said no, and I did take the information in, but I still was like, well, let me try. And child, the way these people played in my face, but it's fine. I say that all to say is that, okay, that was a path that led me straight into resistance. And this does coincide with what we're learning or what I've been talking about as far as like rejection, rejection being correction, protection, or direction. Um, and this is a place where this was a direction. It's redirecting me somewhere else. And so finally I went through other paths of, trying to find employers that actually pay for you to get your CDL. Everything was going, pretty optimistic with that. But then I still kind of felt like, I don't think this is gonna go through. Like I really would want to do this in the summertime. So that way, I can really focus on like getting my affairs in order. My daughter needs to learn how to drive. Like they need to understand how to pay bills. Like there's things not paying the bills, but like how to pay bills. If that makes sense. So all these things that I need to get them learned in that I have not. So I was trying to rush the timeline, and God said, "Sit down, young child." And I find out that yeah, I'm getting sat down, but I found out why, and I was like, "Oh, that's perfect because it fits in line with my plan of wanting to wait." So everything's all good. I'm not distraught about it. I mean, I was distraught about it, but I went into a time of, like I watched a sermon, I prayed, I went to sleep, and I woke up and I got my answer. And so I'm still very strategic. So I said, this thing is going to happen because it has to happen. It has to happen or it has to happen. And so now that I know the timeline, I can move accordingly. And I'm excited for that. So my next one is restorative. Look, falls right in line. Um, I love to solve problems, whereas some are dismayed when they encounter yet another breakdown. You can be energized by it. You enjoy the challenge of analyzing the symptoms, identifying what is wrong, and finding the solution. You prefer practical problems or conceptual ones or personal ones. You may seek out specific kinds of problems that you have met many times before and that you are confident you can fix. Or you may feel the greatest push when faced with complex or unfamiliar problems. Your exact preferences are determined by your other themes and experiences. But what is certain is that you enjoy bringing things back to life. It is a wonderful feeling to identify the undermining factors, eradicate them, and restore something to its true glory. Intuitively, you know that without your intervention, this thing, this machine, this technique, this person, this company might have ceased to function. You fixed it, re- resituated it, rekindled its vitality, phrasing it, uh, phrasing it the way you save it. You saved it. I don't know why I'm like, I can't read. Clearly I can. It's phrasing it the way you save it. You saved it. Oh, it was kind of one of those sentences that you read that you're like, man, I got to read that 3 times to get it. Low key, reading with comprehension is a skill. Sometimes, you read words and you don't comprehend. So that was a moment. But anyways, we have command. So, command leads you to take charge. Unlike some people, you feel no discomfort when imposing your views on others. On the contrary, once your opinion is formed, you need to share it with others. Once your goal is set, you feel restless until you have aligned with others. You are not frightened by confrontation. Rather, you know that confrontation is the first step towards resolution. Whereas others may avoid facing up to life's unpleasantness, you feel compelled to present the facts or the truth, no matter how unpleasant it may be. And child, I'll be doing this. But gaslighting individuals will try to tell you, like, no, no. It was like it was like Scooby Doo mystery, but it was a Scooby Doo mystery that like Holy Spirit like helped me figure out in like a month and a half. And this person was like steady saying a story for like 6 months, and I was like, yeah, I already figured out everything, and I'm tired of this game. I already solved it. I already solved the problem. The problem is you. Yep, the problem is you. And you need things to be clear between people and challenge them to be clear-eyed and honest. 1,000% sure. Sure. Thousand. Why I keep saying 1,000% sure? It's true. True. It's true. Um, you push them to take risks. You may even intimidate them. And while some may resent this, labeling you opinionated, they often willingly hand you the reins. People are drawn towards those who take a stance and ask them to move in a certain direction. Therefore, people will be drawn to you. You have presence, you have command. No lies detected. You know, just magical. Thank you, Jesus. And then this one is like, these last two are kind of funny to me. And here's why. The enemy will attack you. Like, if there is like the father of gaslighting, clearly it's the devil. The devil is the father of gaslighting. And so it was a moment in time where like he dang near had me convinced that I was like inconsistent, just like inconsistent, just like having absolutely no consistency in every single area of my life. Like he really like played me. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with someone, I think it was like a trainer or something like that. And he was like, yeah, because you're very consistent. And I know that this will be good for you. You're very consistent. I know that you'll show up. And I was like, I'm consistent. And then I had to like look at my life and I'm like, yeah, like I am consistent. I do have all the makings of consistency. So when I feel like I'm veering off, I can get myself back in check. um, I definitely try to do that. So just a little like tidbit of where the devil thought he had me me thinking that child, please. Oh, okay. So consistency, balance is important to you. You are keenly aware of the need to treat people the same, no matter what their station in life. So true. And it's so funny because like my last time teaching, I was teaching and there were high school girls and they cracked me up. I don't even know how we got on this topic, but they were like, "Oh, do you have a favorite child?" And I was like, "If you ask my kids, like they will tell you that I do not have a favorite child. I love them both very much for who they are as individuals." And they were like, "That's not true. Like everybody has a favorite." And I'm like, "No." I don't, because I know how it is to know that you're not the favorite and how you kind of navigate life that way until you get to a point where you're like, you don't, now I don't care. I could care less. But my children, I didn't want that for my children. I want them to know that they're loved, appreciated, cared for who they are as individuals, because they are individuals. So I don't believe in this mass parenting style. I do believe in parenting your children, because as we're going through this process, we are finding out that we are individuals. So yes, you'll take these tests. You're not necessarily going to get the same exact results as mine. Why? Because we're all different. So that's why I'm like, not for, that's my favorite child. The only thing I got favorite of is like, I don't even think I got favorites of that. Dang. I could be like, oh, I got this favorite pair of shoes, or a favorite, girl, I don't know. I just have things that I like and things I don't like. Is that? It's not like I don't have a preference. I have a preference, but I can't say like, oh, that's like my favorite favorite. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, I love chocolate cake, but I also love yellow cake with chocolate frosting is my jam, but I also love me some red velvet. But brownies is my fave. So it's one of those things where it's kind of hard for me, but anyways, um yes. So in your view, this leads to selfishness and individualism. It leads to a world where some people gain an unfair advantage because of their connection or their background or their greasings of the wheels. This is truly offensive to you. You see yourself as a guardian against it. In direct contrast to this world of special favors, you believe the people function best in consistent environments where the rules are clear and applied to everyone equally. This is an environment where people know what is expected. It is predictable and even handed. It is fair. For each person has an even chance to show his or her worth, which I do think that that's true. And I feel like it kind of goes into like the paths that I went in life, like in teaching and knowing that everyone has multiple intelligences. So, you know, like I was saying in one past podcast, I can find someone intellectually inferior, but it doesn't mean that I find them intellectually inferior in a general sense. I could find them intellectually inferior in the specific sense of whatever the topic of discussion is. So like if a person is trying to comment on what it is to be a black woman in their 30s and they are not a black woman in their 30s, they are intellectually inadequate and they don't possess that intelligence to be having that conversation. Does that make sense? It's like me, telling a mechanic, oh, you need to do this and this, yet I am not a mechanic. I do not possess the intellectual intelligence to know anything about cars beyond what I know about cars. Okay? P means park, D means drive. No, I'm kidding. I do know a little bit, but not enough to be building nothing or anything like that. So, focus. Where am I headed? You ask yourself. You ask this question every day. Guided by the theme of focus, you need a clear destination. Lacking one, your life and your work can quickly become frustrating. And so each year, each month, even each week, you set goals. These goals can serve as a compass, keep you determined or help you determine priorities and make the necessary connections to get back on course. So that's very true. I'm always goal setting, trying to think of things that I need to accomplish what could help me get to the overarching goal or the overarching theme of the year. That is incredibly important to me. So, the theme of this year is purchasing a home, and what does that look like, and really trying to hunker down on the things that I need to do. But also the theme is one of the things that have been irritating me the most, and something I've kind of been like yelling is like, actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. And that is with anything. So I can have these goals, but if I'm not putting no action behind them, they're literally just words. Um, so these goals serve as a compass to determine the priorities and make necessary corrections to get back on course. Your focus is powerful because it forces you to filter. You instinctively evaluate whether or not particular action will help you move toward your goals. Those that don't get ignored. In the end, then your focus forces you to be efficient naturally. The flip side of this is that it causes you to become impatient with delays, which child, I'm so impatient. Like, I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was like, girl, just come out. I'm ready to meet you. Let's live life outside of my womb. So I am super impatient. Then obstacles, even you're impatient with delays, obstacles, and even tangents, no matter how intriguing they appear to be. This makes you an extremely valuable team member. When others start to wander down other avenues, you bring them back to the main road. Your focus reminds everyone that if something is not helping you move towards your destination, that it is not important. And if it is not important, then it is not worth your time to keep everyone on point. And so that is the Clifton Strengths test results for myself. So it gives you your five, what do they call it? Your five themes. Whew, cheesy wheezy. I don't know why I keep yawning. Oh, I'm not even that tired. But I definitely wanted to go over that one. So that was the latest assessment I took. So this one focuses on your strength and breaks it down to those five themes, and it does give you greater detail in that. So like I have that. I am strategic, I'm restorative, I have command, I have consistency, I have focus, and those are all great things. If I lean into that, if I'm constantly aware of these things, then there is no issue for me that I can't face. If I walk with this, I know what my strengths are, I know what my superpowers are. This is a great thing to do, to take some assessments for your strengths, for your behaviors, for your personality. And it means a whole lot to be aware of yourself, right? You want to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I really enjoyed this series because I got to share not only like real details with you about myself, like some real raw things about myself, but it also was great because you are now aware of these assessments and being like, well, hey, like, well, she knows this about herself. I don't know if I know this about myself. At the end of the day, I use it as a framework because the one who truly knows me is God. So God truly knows me and will truly tell me about myself. But he also gave gifts to men. So God gave this person a gift to compile, to analyze, to take all this and study and do all these things to get this information. So I'm going to use it as it is a tool for a better understanding of whom he made. And it's just something that will help me better understand myself, better understand my areas of improvement, better understand the ones that I love around me, better understand why do I keep having successes in this area, failures in this area. And that's all things that we need to know. I hope that you guys partake, if not all three, at least one of these assessments to get to learn a little bit more about yourself. You spend every waking moment with yourself. And if you only focus on one aspect, you're neglecting so many things about yourself. Like literally, there's so many things about myself that I went over the course of 3 episodes that I learned about myself, that I know how to move forward, that I know that I am tactical and strategic, right? And what's really good about these assessments is that a lot, not even a lot, yeah, a lot of these things coincide with the other, okay? They're they're saying that, my decisiveness and my command, my consistency, my focus, being strategic, those are all things um, that go alongside these other tests that, we're taking. We're taken to know these things about myself, to know that, hey, you are this way. One of the things that constantly came up was intuitive. I'm very intuitive, and every single one of these assessments spoke to that. It's something that I know about myself, and it's something that I use to navigate through my life a lot. Why? Because it gives me information in a way that I wouldn't else receive information if I took everything at 100% face value. If I believed everything that someone said to me at face value and didn't lean into my intuitiveness, into my analyzing, into my focus and being strategic and understanding patterns, I would be in cycles way longer than I need to be. Or I would be in a cycle that I didn't need to be in the first place. So, standing on business 2024, we need to level up. We need to learn more about ourselves. So that means we're focusing on our faith. We're focusing on our family. We're focusing on our fitness. We're focusing on our future, and we're focusing on our finances. So I can't wait to bring some more good things to you all. This has been the conclusion of the Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself series. Okay, where we went over the Myers-Briggs test. I'm an INTJ, the flight assessment, which I am a pilot, and then the Clifton Strengths test, which I have 5 components, which that would be strategic, restorative, have command, consistency, and focus. So these are some good place markers to start when getting to know yourself a little bit more. So I hope you guys take advantage of these. There are costs associated with these tests, but how priceless is knowing something about yourself that you didn't even know? Because, like I told you with the Clifton Strengths, the devil was really attacking me with this consistency and just coming at me like, girl, you inconsistent, you inconsistent, you inconsistent. Had me out here thinking I was a bust down. But truly, I am not. I'm very consistent. And so it brought to light areas where like for restorative or being strategic, I didn't necessarily think that I was that strategic. I just, I don't know. I didn't really think that I was that strategic, but like reading it and what that means, because I know what strategic means, but peeling back the layers of what it means, what does that look like when it's being used, it brought a lot of insight to myself. And that's all that I'm trying to do, is to make sure that we have insight in ourselves, of ourselves, to better see ourselves in the future. You don't want to be at the same place that you are today. And That's the main thing. We're always trying to get better and to level up. And it's not to say that there's nothing wrong with who we are now, but I say this all the time. It's actually quite funny because I do say this to myself all the time, where I'll be like, oh man, I need to do da da da. Like today, I was like, oh, I need to make sure I charge my headphones. And so I went to go charge my headphones, and they were already on the charger. And I was like, man, future or past Sade, thank you so much. Future Sade is very appreciative to what past Sade did. And it sounds insane, but that's exactly what it is. You want future you to thank past you for saying no to certain things that you really want to do in order to get to this next place in your life. So, with that being said, we have survived 100%, 1,000%, a billion percent of the things that were sent to break us. And we've gotten through it. So, we didn't go over it, we went through it. And the journey is going to continue. And as always, thank you for stopping in. This has been an episode of the From Her View podcast. Bye.